It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Welcome to another cup of coffee. You can see we have got the gorgeous Nathan Bechtold with us.
I'm back.
I think your day job is a model, and you just kind of toy around with the Lake Expo.
My day job
thing,
is
right?
at Lake TV apparently now.
That's
you guys
right.
just keep bringing me.
William's on vacation all the
I love
time
it.
now.
Yeah.
It's good to be a rich owner or something, isn't it?
Right.
So Nathan Bechtold is the everything over there at Lake Expo, editor, writer, owner, everything over there. So thank you for taking the time to come over and join us and do this.
Thanks for having me on.
We thought we'd have some fun. Last year, we went over, when you joined us on Cup of Coffee, we went over your prediction story, and you did really well last year.
Yeah.
You were like 6 for 6
I know,
or something.
Nostradamus over here.
Yeah, that's right. So I figured we'd do it again this year and go over your predictions and see how well you're doing this year.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. Also, State Representative Jeff Canetti will be here. We'll check in with him. He just got back from Washington, D.C. We'll see what that was all about. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with a cup of coffee.
Hey everybody, it's Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. Man, we've got a heat wave going on, so whether you're working out in the heat or playing out in the heat, a good night's sleep is a must. You need to come check out our anniversary sale. We have great prices on our sleep system. Not only that, we deliver the entire lake area, and we have 0% interest financing for up to 36 months. Come see us at Slumberland Furniture. We're bringing happy home.
A cup of coffee as we wake up, in the car, or right here on Lake TV with Will and Chris. Kind of like driving, we do it every single day.
But we shouldn't do it while distracted. Did you know that drivers who text are 23 times more likely to be in a crash? So keep your eyes on the road and always remember to buckle up and put your phones down.
This Drive Safe, Boat Safe message brought to you by Price and Randall Injury Attorneys.
Now back to your cup of coffee with Will and Chris.
Okay, cup of coffee. Nathan Bechtold from Lake Expo with us. By the way, great job you guys are doing at Lake Expo.
Thank you.
You guys are so fantastic. Okay, so last year we went over your predictions for 2024, and you nailed them all.
I got almost all. I think it was like 90% or more.
You were great. So we wanted to humble you a little bit and take a look at your predictions this year.
Yep.
So when did you do this story? It was back in February?
I think it was February. Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm always I always have it cooking at the beginning of the year. I'm like, I got to do another one of these. I just put myself out there for better or worse. And so, at the beginning of the year, and obviously some of it I'm writing based on either things I expect are going to happen, or sometimes I have a little behind the scenes
Inside
intel
information.
although sometimes that doesn't play out. So you never know. You really never know. So
Okay.
that's what that's all based on.
So the name of the story back in February was 8 predictions for 2025 at the Lake of the Ozarks. Okay, so we'll start out with prediction number 1, where you said Oasis at Lakeport will open. Okay, and then you said the project has hit some snags. What project of this scale doesn't? But nonetheless, we think folks will be hanging out and enjoying the Oasis at Lakeport before the year ends.
That's not going to happen.
I think you missed that one.
Yeah,
right?
okay, I'll give myself a small credit on that, because technically I do really think that the docks are going to be set up and used for Shootout.
Yeah.
So if we could say that
I don't think
that
that's
doesn't
no.
count. Fine.
Okay, but close.
That project has changed a lot this year in terms of timeline. That not long after I published that, I think we published a story where it was like, okay, timeline just got extended a lot. So
they had so much trouble with that condo.
the timeshare thing was huge. And again, when I talked to the developer, Tag It Off, he was like, listen, we couldn't get I'll probably say this wrong, but we couldn't get the financing till the timeshares were completely under our ownership, and they had to go to 18 grandkids that inherited one timeshare from grandma kind of thing and get them to all sign it over. So we couldn't even get the financing done until then. But then all that went into escrow. So like hundreds of millions of dollars in escrow until the city of Osage Beach then signed the final agreement, the TIF and all that stuff. So that was at least his explanation on why you've seen nothing happening there for most of this year.
Yep.
I do think it sounds like they're expecting some dirt to start moving in and some blasting that happen soon-ish, but I think he's tired of giving me timelines. on that,
Yeah,
'cause
really.
They end up.
But
yeah.
the last timeline we heard was that they will be up and running next summer.
I think it was after, like the end of the summer. He's hedging, but yeah, he's like,
Wow.
they won't even, the Oasis amusement park won't be open, I don't think, for the 2026 like summer season. But they're thinking that it could be like, I don't know, August or something like that. So
there you go.
We'll see.
That's some good information right there. Okay,
Yeah.
but 0 for 1.
0 for 1 for
on
sure,
your
yeah.
prediction.
Yeah.
Prediction number 2, real estate will really perk up after a couple of ho-hum years.
I'm waiting for that one still.
Yeah, we're still
we
waiting
got
on
half
that
a
one.
year yet.
Okay, so we're 0 for 2.
0 for 2 there for sure.
Not that real estate is doing horribly around here.
No, it's okay.
It just hasn't gotten back up to that 100% full steam ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a 2-hour show on like the why behind all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's just, and it depends on what you're looking at, whether it's condos or houses or whatever else. And again, I'm not an expert, I'm just an observer of things. And then I talk to people who know things. So it's always interesting in the real estate scene at the lake, but I would not say it's perked up.
Right.
Yeah.
Still waiting on that,
Yeah,
right?
still
Okay.
waiting.
So you're 0 for 2.
0 for 2.
On your prediction.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Prediction number 3, more developers will work to solve the lake's unique housing challenges. And you said we expect to see developers still looking for ways to solve this in 2025. They'll probably seek public-private partnerships and tax abatements. Have we seen that?
Not in a big way. I don't remember if I'd published it by the time when I wrote this, but Rick Ellerman's working on that project that's over close to the Osage Beach Glen Airport. That's like a cottages kind of project.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting. I would love to see more of that. I've talked to another guy who's not ready to come out publicly yet, but that has kind of some longer term plans to build some. Nobody likes the term affordable housing anymore because what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Right. But entry-level housing or something. So I've been talking to guys even in the past few weeks that have that on their radar, but we haven't seen a lot of it.
Haven't
yet.
seen an
Really, I would say
explosion of
the
buildings.
one that I know of for sure is the one that Rick is doing over at by the Glen Airport, which is really cool and excited to see that kind of come to fruition, but not a whole lot of that.
So do
yet
we give
this
you
year.
a miss
I'm
or
gonna
a
take
half?
a half point
A
on
half.
that one. I'm
Okay.
gonna give myself a
So
half
we'll
point.
give a half. So that's good.
Yeah.
At least he's not shut out.
That's right.
Okay. And prediction number 4 was we will learn more about the master plan for the Strip. Okay. And which was interesting at the time because there was a lot happening at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like back in January, February, a couple of big news stories about changes on the Strip. Dog Patch, Summer USA, I think, had been purchased.
Things had changed hands, and then the Reese kind of a group had done some demolishing of things and some different things that looked like they were going to be transpiring. Maybe they are, but I'm going to give myself a 0 on that one too.
Are you? I was going to give you a half.
I don't even think I've published anything substantive about it since I wrote that. So no, maybe that'll be the second half of this year.
Okay.
But no, yeah.
So far, not quite an 0 for 3.5 right and a half.
Not
no,
good.
3.5 wrong and a half right.
Let's get to the other ones.
The other ones. You get stronger in the second half.
That's right.
So in the second half of your predictions, we will talk about the Outlet Mall and Lake of the Ozarks on screen, like Ozark Law and where that's going, and the Mall Project. A lot happening with that.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to talk about all that and more. If we get time, we'll talk about Shootout is coming up, and we lost Hulk Hogan. I know you were buddies with Hulk Hogan.
Oh, good,
so.
good friends.
Yeah,
no, not at all,
absolutely.
actually, but
Tight.
cool
They
guy.
lifted weights together and everything. So before we get to all that, though, I just sat down with State Rep Jeff Canetti a few minutes ago. He was just in Washington and wanted to find out how his first year as state rep was. So here's how that went. Talking with our state representative, Jeff Canetti. How are you, sir?
Good to be back.
Excellent. I gave you a text. I saw you were in Washington, D.C. recently, and I saw some pictures coming out. And I said, man, we need to get you on the show. We got to talk about that.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity. The Trump administration is doing things that many administrations haven't. They're actually inviting every state delegation from across the country to the White House over this whole year, I believe. And Missouri was next, so we went a few weeks ago. And about 70 representatives and senators and some of the governor's staff was there. And it was just a great look and see kind of what was going on. The timing was perfect because they had just passed the Big Beautiful Bill.
Yeah.
And so we got a lot of insight to that and how that will work to the states. But we actually heard from 5 of his cabinet secretaries, which was just great. And there's so many things going on that affect Missouri that either Missouri's leading in or Missouri is, towards the bottom in. And we happen to hear from a lot of those secretaries that kind of affected those areas. Like one, we heard from the energy secretary.
Yeah.
And, Missouri has a nuclear reactor, and Missouri is trying to move towards maybe adding more nuclear. So energy was one, and then education is a hot button issue, obviously, in this state, especially with this governor. And we heard from Secretary Linda McMahon, who the Trump administration is getting rid of the Department of Education over a period of time. So it was really interesting to take what they were doing at the largest level and how it trickles down to Missouri and how Missouri fits into their plan. And to hear that firsthand, to ask questions, to understand, because we'll get constituent questions from things that we actually don't do at the state level.
Yeah.
They're federal level that comes down. So just to have, 1, the insight, but 2, now people that we can call if we have an issue.
Yeah.
And
you know them. You've met them.
Yeah, because our congressmen and senators in Missouri are at least the ones that we have that touch the lake, Alford and Onder, are so accommodating. They're very easy to work with on. You'd be amazed with the constituent questions we get, especially on things like passports. Well, I can't fix a passport issue, but we can help you fix it. And their offices have just been a joy to work with, especially on a number of issues that have touched the lake. So we can always reach those men and women, but to have someone inside the administration and people you can go to, it was very fascinating for anyone that likes politics, but more informative for the job that I have to do.
Did you get to sit down with the president?
Yeah, unfortunately we didn't. He had a cabinet meeting that day, so the secretaries were who we got to meet. We did get a tour of the White House and got a tour of Congress and got to see kind of the inside track of that. The timing was bad for us, though, because they had just passed the bill, so they gave all of Congress that week off. So our congressmen and senators actually weren't in town. So we worked more with their chiefs of staff and their staff who never get time off.
Still pretty cool, and we got some great pictures that
great.
We're showing people right now from your Facebook page.
Yeah.
So your first year of being a state rep in the books, did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy your first year?
Yeah, one of the things I like to say is, people ask me that question all the time, and I like to say that I slept like a baby. I cried myself to sleep every night. No, I to be honest with you, I did. There were so many things that we got to see. I really felt like this area was underserved. That's one of the reasons why I ran, and I think the support that I've received from constituents and members of, we have so many good charities here. And the fact that a lot of those folks just said, boy, it's just nice to have someone really fighting for us. We had the first ever Camden County Day at the Capitol, which we're going to do again, make that an annual event. It was great. There's challenges. Government's meant to be slow. Passing laws are meant to be difficult. So it's tough work, a lot of hours, and everyone knows what I make. It's public record. There's no money in it. And 2, the social media part of it stinks, because there's a lot of, feedback from people that aren't necessarily tied into it. They see a headline and rip it apart. But no, it's not all about passing bills, but I was able to send 3 bills to the governor's desk this year that he signed. That was a high from people in my class and, for what I was able to do. And especially for this area, we haven't had someone pass any legislation for a while. So some exciting stuff, but still a long way to go. It's going to be, there's so many things moving at the state level that have come down from the federal level. I'm on budget. That was the most difficult thing because the state budget's really got to tighten up. It's going to continue to tighten up as the federal money is being cut off in so many areas. I mean, Missouri has a spending problem. There's no question about it. And so trying to fix that.
Absolutely. Okay. Do you like to talk to constituents to hear what they're thinking, feeling, seeing? How would they get in touch with you?
Oh, it's great. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that our office does a great job of getting back to people. No, we want feedback through my email and through our office there. I mean, even though we're out of session, I hear from folks constantly. I'm going to a senior center right after this meeting for a constituent issue. So no, that's my point of being out of session is to be in the community. So if there's a community event, a meeting, a speaking engagement, or just a problem that you're having, that's what we're here for.
Okay, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, through our website, through house.mo.gov, you can find all my contact information, and my email is jeff.vernetti@house.mo.gov, and reach out to me that way. I think half the town has my cell phone number, so feel free to pass it around. But no, that's really what I'm here to do.
And you're planning on running again next year.
Yep,
right?
2026 is the next election, so gearing up for that. It's a quick cycle. You know, you basically run and you raise money and get ready to do it again, and you run all over again. But 2026 is going to be an interesting election because obviously we don't have a presidential, we don't have the governor's race, we don't have anything major, so it's going to be issue driven. You know, abortion will be back on the ballot. The same group that initiative petitioned the Proposition A, which was getting paid time leave and minimum wage increased, is going to go back on the ballot, unfortunately. They're going to try to make it a constitutional amendment this time. It actually has some worse provisions in there, so we've got to go after that. And there's going to be a number of issue-based things, so 2026 is going to be very important.
Always. Jeff, thanks for coming by.
Always great to be here.
Appreciate it. Jeff Canetti, state representative representing the Lake of the Ozarks. All right, so we're going to get back to Nathan Bechtold's predictions for 2025 and see how he's doing. State Rep Jeff Canetti doing a pretty good job. He's getting a lot done, it seems like, there in Washington.
As a freshman rep, he got 3 bills on the governor's desk. That's impressive.
That's pretty
honestly.
yeah.
And appreciate the substance of those too. So good stuff.
Good stuff indeed. Thanks for sitting down with us, Jeff. Okay, so back to your predictions for 2025.
This is the good half of my predictions.
First half, he didn't do very well. You missed 3.5. You got a half right.
Yep.
Okay. So let's start out with prediction number 5, where you said we'll see a concrete plan from the developers who bought the outlet mall. This was not looking good a couple of weeks ago. But all of a sudden, it's looking good now.
I know. This was the first in a string of texts that I sent you where I was like, I was right about my prediction. So, now technically, as of right now, we still haven't seen the concrete plan, but we did see something really big that if you don't read carefully, you won't think it's big. But it was a big deal that what happened with the city of Osage Beach. They basically signed their first kind of agreement with the developers to move forward with the finance process. So it wasn't like they signed a TIF agreement, but what they did is the city board passed a thing that they have to pass that basically says we can accept money from the developer to pay an outside consultant to look at the TIF package they're going to put together. It's kind of convoluted, but that actually is a huge step because it's a big visible sign that the city and the developer have been working. And then aldermen at that meeting were saying, listen, we've actually been working behind the scenes with the developers for quite a while. This is our kind of first opportunity to go public with that it's moving forward. And what they said at that meeting was in 60 days, we would have a concrete plan. So I'm going to be right within 60 days.
We're giving it to you.
Yeah,
we're going to give it to you. That's been an interesting situation because a few months ago, the owner developers were saying, we're going to do this and that and the next thing. And the city was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, especially in round 1, a couple years ago, that was a big piece of it. But this year there's been some back and forth on what's happening, what's not. But it looks like there's a lot of clarity. And again, all the city officials, the city attorney and mayor, everybody was speaking very positively about it. And that's usually a good sign.
Absolutely. Okay, so you get a win on that one. So you're up to 1.5 right now. Your prediction number 6 was more big screen interest in the lake, and that's going to be a win for you because Ozark Law is doing really well, and they're on A&E, and they added a camera. They added Sunrise Beach, I think, to the mix this year. And then you have some behind-the-scenes information about maybe even more stuff coming.
This was another text I sent you last week where I was like, I didn't mean to be this right, but like a producer from the show 2020 contacted me very out of the blue about an article I wrote years ago covering, I'm not going to share it yet because I don't know if they want to share it yet, but a particular crime story and a very interesting case that I had covered. And they found my coverage and reached out and basically are looking into doing a full 2-hour 2020 special on something here at the lake. They are on the West Coast, and so I got to talk to this producer a little bit about the lake, and they didn't know even Miller County or different things. And I said, well, this is, this touches Lake of the Ozarks, and that they didn't realize this was at Lake of the Ozarks. They just knew Miller County, Missouri.
Right, yeah.
And so as soon as I told them this is Lake of the Ozarks, Jason Bateman's show and Ozark Law, they were giddy.
Really?
They were like, oh my goodness, this is going to help us actually be able to get this done, get producers to approve it and all that. So really interesting. Yeah, gonna be fun.
That's fascinating.
And I may float some stuff out there soon about it if I get the okay from them. So yeah, we could have a very interesting crime story come across 2020. That would probably hit in 2026.
It's amazing how much how everybody has heard of the Lake of the Ozarks. Really, it started with the Jason Bateman series.
I would say so, yeah.
Ozark,
that was
right?
such a huge piece of it.
It really was. Everybody but me has seen that. I've never watched an episode of that. So everybody seems to like, okay, so that's a win. So you're 3.5 wrong, 2.5 right now. Okay, you're coming back.
Keep going.
Prediction number 7, okay, is Osage Beach will sort out the Lee C. Fine Airport deal. There has been some news on that front. What's going on there?
As far as I know, I think they did sort it out, basically. Like, that went through the legislature. I think that was one of those things that Jeff was involved with.
Jeff Canetti?
Yeah, Canetti was involved with, and that's looking really good. Like, so there's still some things that now Osage Beach has to do, but the whole airport deal was that Lee C. Fine Airport, which has the longest airstrip at the lake, which makes it the most accessible for the most number of aircraft, right? It sits on state property, like, Department of Natural Resources property, right? It's in the Lake of the Ozarks State Park. And that's a problem because it creates a disincentive for the city to invest in it and grow it and all this. And so the city worked out this deal where DNR would basically deed over this big piece of acreage that includes the airport and some area around it to the city in exchange for the city running city sewer out to the state park, which they really needed out there for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
So they worked out this deal, but that had to clear the legislature, which is its own animal.
Oh.
So
politics.
Yeah, difficult. Like Jeff said, things move slowly, but that's kind of by design. So that's good. I'm going to take a win.
There you go.
One.
So that is moving forward, even though it's been quiet. It's been moving forward. So the airport, you're right on. So now you're tied. 3.5 wrong, 3.5 right. You're making a big comeback. So the last prediction is going to be a winner or a loser for you overall. Last prediction was more national brands will start showing interest in the lake. You said in the story, lots of money to be made here, but a vast majority of it is clustered into about 6 months of the year,
May
right?
through September.
Yeah,
right.
something like that. So we're going to have to give you a win on this one because just recently we got news Chick-fil-A is coming to the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yep.
That had been rumored. I mean, we talked about that as a rumor for a long time.
Years.
Yeah.
And we put that on our rumors episode, I think.
We
at
did.
Least once.
In fact, I was going to do it again today until it came out.
Yep.
Do we know where it's going to be in Osage Beach?
Osage Beach, but they're not revealing the location yet. But I had gotten a tip on that, and it felt legit. And so I reached out to Chick-fil-A and said, hey, I know you're coming. And so you should confirm that for me. So they did. They did. They, in a very, mincing their words kind of way, said we were in the early stages of pursuing an Osage Beach location, which, again, don't know timeline, but Chick-fil-A has said we are coming to the lake.
I love Chick-fil-A. I'm excited, man.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are excited. That story went bananas for us at Lake Expo. Yeah, everybody was excited about that.
By the way, if people don't know how to go and see Lake Expo, how do they do that?
Well, I mean, my favorite way is for you to download the Lake Expo app. You can get it in Google Play or the App Store. That's the way you can stay the most closely connected to breaking news. We do notifications for big news stories, and everything we publish runs through the Lake Expo app.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do that, there's the Lake Alert email. You can sign up for that at lakeexpo.com. There's a thing up there that says Lake Alert. Tons of people come through the Lake Alert email. And it's just like a daily newspaper in your inbox kind of thing. It just has our headlines that we publish.
Stuff.
Some real estate, some other things as well that kind of for scrolling. So there's that. Of course, follow us on all the socials. And then a lot of people just type lakeexpo.com into their browser every day. If you want to do that, that's fine too.
Absolutely.
But,
I put it as a bookmark, so it's right there. I love going to your weather page. I mean, great radar and all that stuff. So.
Another one that does well is our webcams page. We have webcams around the lake, and it's hilarious to me how many people check those out. Those get tons of views. So go check out the webcams. You have to create a login. It's free. And then you can see the view from Margaritaville and all these different places. You check the weather and if it's busy there before you head out or whatever else. So
it's cool, especially if you're out of town and just want to see the lake.
Right. I think that's what a lot of people are doing.
By the way, we talked about Chick-fil-A coming, which made you a winner on the more national brands coming in.
There's another one.
There's another one, Lake Regional to join Mayo Clinic Care Network, bringing more expertise to lake area patients. That's another national brand that has teamed up locally.
That's huge. And we actually, again, another one that I texted you about last week. I was just having a winning week last week.
Yeah, you were a winner,
it was
man.
good. No, that's a really big deal for Lake Regional, obviously, but I would say for the lake and even for Missouri. As far as I know, there's only one other hospital healthcare system in Missouri that is part of that Mayo Care network. And so what that more or less means is that if you go to Lake Regional, you've got Mayo level care backing the doctor that you're seeing there. Again, they didn't get bought by Mayo or anything, but what it means is the doctors have everything from training to, they can even contact folks at Mayo. They go, man, this person came and they've got something we've never seen before.
Yeah.
They can actually get a hold of people at Mayo who, again, Mayo is the name that you know, right? And figuring out all the strange medical conditions that people deal with.
Yeah.
So really, really big win. Not just for Lake Regional, but for Lake people and Missouri people. It becomes a place that you would go to get really great care. So I was impressed by that story. That was really cool. I was proud of them.
That should really help out Lake Regional, I would think. That, they haven't necessarily had a great reputation.
Right. Yep.
And so hopefully that will certainly help them.
Yeah, I think it will.
So if we add up your hits and misses on your 8 predictions, you win. You come out a winner.
All right,
4.5 good, 3.5 down, and you nailed the last 4.
Yeah.
You got the last 4 right. So congratulations,
Thanks, man. It feels good to be good.
2 years in a row, you nailed them both. Well, you're good whether you're right or wrong. There you go. So we lost a great in Hulk Hogan. He was just here at the lake last summer.
Yes, he was.
I think right after the Republican National Convention, or right before, one or the other, because he was unveiling like a new beer.
Yeah, Real American beer, which I've heard mixed reviews about the quality of that product. Right. But
I've never had one of those.
But yeah, me neither. But yeah, he was here, and man, I mean, the crowds were insane for him, and that was cool. That was a cool moment, and lost the Hulkster.
You got to spend some time with him too.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you guys hung out.
No.
Okay. So I heard that wrong then.
No, you heard that wrong.
So that's one wrong in my category.
Yeah, right.
So let's see, what else? Oh, Shootout. So we've got the Shootout offshore race done. In your opinion, how did that go this year? Was it a success?
I would call it a success. They had a good turnout, and I mean, everything that I've heard was that it was well run. I think racers had a good experience. So the Shootout organization growing to encompass that early summer race, I think has been a net positive for the lake, for Shootout charities as a whole, all that. So I would call that a win for them, and I feel pretty sure that it's going to keep growing.
I do too.
That early race especially is going to see some more growth.
I see the possibility of that early race, just because of the kind of racing it is, overtake what we know as the big Shootout now. Yeah. Because it's more exciting,
more action.
In some ways.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a neat event.
Big Shootout coming here in just a few weeks now. It's got a whole new venue. It's over there by the Grand Glazed Bridge.
Yeah,
right?
It's about a mile.
And the Oasis isn't going to be up and running, but I guess they're going to have docks.
They will have
there.
docks, and the docks will be for the racers and such only. And then, for crowds, so historically it's been at Captain Ron's, and there's been the whole vendor village and everybody on the docks and all that. That's going to be at Dog Days this year. So the docks at Oasis will be for the racers to use to get in and out and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so it's there are multiple spots basically that are going to be kind of hosting boats, racers, people, vendors, all that stuff. But if you want to watch it by water, it's just, you go under the Grand Glazed Bridge and a little further and you'll see the flotilla
It's
lining
actually
up.
on the east side of the bridge, I think, where they're going to do the runs.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So
over towards the kind of the big cliff that's there.
It's going to be interesting the first year with all these big changes. It might not be as smooth as normal as they figure some of these things out, but I think in years to come it might just be massive.
I think it's a strong location for them. We'll see. I mean, if anything, they may have such good turnout that they got to find places to put the flotilla, maybe first come, first serve.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, historically, it's just make another row, right? There's multiple rows of spectators. So I think it's going to be a really fun, entertaining event. And I think on the net, the nice thing about that location is that it is very accessible, from, people who are down more towards the dam. If you want to go by boat, you're going there versus another, 10 to 12, whatever it is, miles up to the Captain Ron's location. Again, of course, Captain Ron's has the Cannonball Run going on same weekend. So there's a lot going on that weekend. There'll be a lot of people out and about. And if you can hit both,
It'd be great.
That would be cool. Yeah, more power to you. That's
Absolutely.
it'll be a busy weekend at the
Hang
lake.
in there, take your vitamins.
that's right.
Okay, and also coming up, high school football on Lake TV. We're just a couple of weeks away from that. So be watching for that. On this week's Community Spotlight Show, we have got Susan Kay and Peter Brown. Lake family royalty, developed 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Horseshoe Bend, Shawnee Bend, Portachima. I mean, great stories. So be watching for that this week. Nathan, thank you for coming by.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it.
It's always
You're a
fun.
great brother. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's Cup of Coffee.
You're watching Lake TV.